A major construction project is beginning between Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene. What you need to know and how it'll impact you. The Washington State Nurses Association says at least 15 nurses have been laid off from Providence Sacred Heart after a patient died by suicide. We'll share more details tonight.
We're talking thunderstorms, blowing dust, and a big change in the works as we head into the weekend.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. A massive pileup has blocked the eastbound lanes of Highway 395 south of Ritzville. Westbound traffic down to one lane. A person we spoke with who is currently in that backup says about a dozen vehicles were involved in the crash. This one happened just before 4 today. Here is a photo of the scene posted within the last hour. It appears at least one big rig is involved in the crash. We are still working to learn more about any potential injuries in this situation. Northbound is closed due to the cleanup of cars, but southbound open with one lane moving. The Franklin County Sheriff telling drivers to avoid that area still, if at all possible. Idaho's Transportation Department is gearing up for a massive multi-year project to widen I-90, but it's not welcome news to many along one of North Idaho's most used corridors. KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy has been in Post Falls all afternoon today. And Shannon, what are you hearing about the project?
Well, I'm near the interchange of Highway 41 and the Interstate I-90, and this is where construction is going to start. It's going to stretch all the way into Coeur d'Alene to widen the interstate. But as you can see behind me, this is an area already dealing with a lot of construction.
The daily grind is on at Lot 41 in Post Falls. Nails, lashes, and more offer a beauty break, though what's going on steps outside the door, that's been ugly, says owner Alyssa Cook.
Sure. We did really well our first year, and then when the construction started, we ended up actually downsizing.
Cook bought the existing salon 3 years ago, and soon after closed her neighboring boutique when construction moved in next door on Highway 41.
We're down probably 60% since it started. I've talked, yeah.
She hadn't even heard about the new project starting Monday to widen I-90 to 4 lanes. Idaho's Transportation Department says it will eventually reduce congestion between Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene. ITD expects the region's traffic volumes to double by 2045. The expansion will also replace and widen bridges and lengthen on and off ramps for safer merging. When it's done, anticipated in 2029.
We've had tanners that were with us with this tanning salon for like 5 years that specifically cancel their memberships because of the construction, because they're just avoiding the area in general.
Though Cook may soon say sayonara to one headache, ITD estimates the Post Falls Interchange project will wrap up next year.
But that's our only hope for now. I mean, the growth in Post Falls is promising for 5 years down the road, but for now we're just trying to get by. Yeah.
ITD says for the 4 years that this widening project is going on, I-90 will be reduced to just one lane each way during the day. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
All right, Shannon, thank you very much. Let's talk weather on this Thursday with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legout joining us in the Outdoor Weather Center. Jeremy, we were anticipating some storms pushing through today. What's that situation looking like right now?
Well, I can tell you on the South Hill, Mark, it's quite nice outside. Temperatures in the low 70s and sunshine, but you don't have to go far to find some of those storms. You can see some evidence of storms out to the east. You look to the west, it's sunshine. You look up to the north, and there is a little more evidence. Temperatures in the 70s across much of the region, but here it is. Tons of activity. Notice earlier in the day, Mark talked about that pile up along 395 south of Ritzville. See that storm right there? Just watch, ready? That storm. That storm tells me that we likely had a lot of blowing dust around that same time, just with the outflow as that system fell apart. Off to the north, still some of that activity, and those storms are still coming down, but notice a little bit less lightning here in the past half hour. Still tons of it. If you're up in Newport, you're probably in it. Elk, similar story there. It's going to cross over. I think north of Spirit Lake, we'll see some of that, but it is going to make its way down toward you. Spirit Lake, I'd say get ready for rain, maybe not a big thunderstorm, but rain is probable. Some storms firing back off behind that initial band. We talked about this about 15 minutes ago. I said, let's watch those. There they are. We're starting to see some thunder and lightning out of those. Just evidence that we have some more atmospheric strength. Once the sun goes down, we lose a lot of it. We'll see a little bit of activity early tomorrow morning along the Canadian border, but that is it. 80 and sunny tomorrow, 86 and mostly sunny on Saturday, 90 by Sunday.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you. New tonight, the Washington State Nurses Association is taking action after they say more than a dozen nurses were fired from a local hospital. Those firings come following the tragic suicide of a 12-year-old psychiatric patient at Sacred Heart Medical Center back in April. KREM 2's Regan Gallo found out the nurses union is now filing grievances. She is live tonight with more on this development. Regan?
Well, the Washington State Nurses Association told me 15 nurses have been fired following the death by a suicide of a 12-year-old patient who was under psychiatric care at Providence Sacred Heart Medical Center.
A spokesperson from Washington State Nurses Association says they are filing grievances on behalf of those nurses. In a statement sent to me, WSNA added they reject claims from the hospital that nurses violated privacy protocol. They say nurses were doing their job to assist the 12-year-old girl. They added often nurses outside of the emergency department are called in to assist with care and provide information related to a patient's treatment. I also reached out to Providence Sacred Heart Medical Center about this. They responded with a statement that says their code of conduct was violated, including patient privacy. The statement reads, Providence takes violations of our code of conduct and federal privacy laws that govern private health information very seriously. We review employee conduct and take appropriate action, including termination of employment where warranted. Patient privacy is one of our top priorities. I followed up with the hospital to confirm the number of nurses that were terminated, but they said they cannot confirm numbers, saying it's a human resources matter. On social media, there has been speculation the nurses were fired in retaliation for speaking to the media after initial news came out when the 12-year-old girl died.
Nurses have been telling the hospital they couldn't take care of psychiatric patients in that unit. It was not safe.
I asked Providence about this, and they said the termination was only because of patient privacy violations.
The hospital noted they will fully participate in the grievance process, and WSNA says the grievance process could take up to 2 years. This is a developing story. I'm reporting in the newsroom. Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
All right, Regan, thank you very much. Providence is shuttering clinics in Spokane and Stevens County over the next couple of months. The cuts mainly affect the company's orthopedic physical therapy clinics in Spokane, Spokane Valley, and Chewelah. In all, Providence says it is firing around 60 people. The hospital group blamed a number of problems for the closures, including Medicaid cuts from the One Big Beautiful Bill, delayed payments, and a rise in medication costs. The move follows a string of cuts across western Washington in June when the company laid off more than 100 nurses. The Grant County Sheriff's Office currently searching for a murder suspect near Yakima. A warrant has been issued for the arrest of Miguel Angel Granados Vargas. He is 29 years old and from Sunnyside. He is wanted in connection with a shooting homicide that happened on Monday. He was last seen near State Route 241 and State Route 24 south of Grant County. He is likely armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is urged to contact Yakima Crime Stoppers at that number right there at the bottom of your screen. The Panhandle Health District in North Idaho has issued a public health advisory for Chuck Slough in the Sanpoint area. Recent water samples show the presence of a harmful algae bloom. People using the lake for drinking water are cautioned against it, as algae cannot be removed from the water by boiling it or filtering it. If so, contact with the water containing the algae bloom. Experts say wash it off with fresh water. State officials are investigating what could be the first case of locally acquired malaria ever recorded in Washington state. A woman in Pierce County who has not recently traveled was diagnosed with the disease on Saturday. Officials say the most likely scenario is that a mosquito bit someone infected with a travel-related case of malaria and later transmitted the disease to the Pierce County patient. They say the risk of getting infected with malaria is still very low, but they are now working to implement mosquito trapping and testing in the area. All right, stay with us. We are just getting started here on KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. The Trump administration is pulling $500 million from research into mRNA vaccines that help slow the COVID-19 pandemic. More on that coming up. Nola and Nuestras Raíces are hosting a fiesta in place of the Tacos and Tequila Festival. That story coming up.